Hi everyone, this is Don. I'm joined by folks from the Lively Arts Committee, Margaret Johnston, Ruth Saunders, and Jenny Hill. So thanks to the three of you for joining us tonight. So I'm going to be asking each of you some questions about the Lively Arts Committee, and thanks for sharing your responses. So Margaret, I'm going to start with you. What would you describe as the most important ministry component of Lively Arts?
I think that the ministry part of it is enhancing the worship experience for every single person in the congregation. Maybe it was a little easier when we were all in the same physical building, but there's many, many ways to do that still, and I look forward to helping in that creative process.
Good answer. Ruth, what would service look like for someone that joins Lively Arts?
Well, this is not a sit on your hands committee. This is like a think tank. There are ideas just shooting around the room because we have to figure out how Lively Arts are integrated into the service. And we're trying to make such a great variety that we can include everybody who wants to participate, which would make a really rich service. But the meetings are basically figuring out, just thinking of great things that are just like off the wall and couldn't be done. And then you think, well, yeah, but we had somebody, the ministers flying through on a zip line. So don't figure that it can't be done. So all of these ideas are coming through, and then we have to figure out, then we don't just say we had the ideas and we walk out. No, now we start doing it, and there's a lot of doing that's involved in all of these things, and artists and musicians and drama people and dancers are all helping each other do these things. So it's exciting, but busy.
Sounds very busy. Jenny, the next question is for you. What have you found to be the most rewarding or the biggest personal benefit for you from serving on Lively Arts?
I think for me that touches on sort of what Ruth was describing, which is the collaborative aspect of the Lively Arts Committee. It's fascinating to come together with just a shell of an idea, a worship theme that's coming up, or a particular talent that someone wants to be able to share, but then come to a meeting where, as Ruth described, all these ideas are bouncing off of each other. And so it's a great committee for either anyone who's ever been an artist of any kind, a musician, a dancer, an actor, a writer, but also anyone who just appreciates the arts and wants to make sure that that continues to be a part of worship at UCG. So it's anyone who's ever been a part of a creative process, the way that there's just an idea and it goes from just the idea to a realization that's so much more than anyone ever imagined in those early stages. So the way that just a little, one little idea from one person and another idea from another person is eventually either a full performance, maybe as a fundraiser, a Sunday afternoon event, or maybe it's just a component within a worship service that has an artistic element to it. But it's really exciting to watch it come to life. And then even if you were only a part of one aspect of the planning, you get to see the final implementation of it. And to me, that piece is really important to UCG, the continual emphasis on and like appreciation for the arts in our spiritual connections, because sometimes I think, especially when times are hard, like right now with a pandemic and a volatile political atmosphere and a lot of pain and loss in this country and in our community, sometimes art is one of the only ways that we can get through that, by still finding our common humanity, our connections, our stories that come together. And so I feel like it's actually one of the most critical pieces of worship at UCG and of service at UCG that we continue to invest in, and I'm really grateful for that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Margaret, could you describe a meaningful experience from your time on Lively Arts?
Yeah, in that creative process in the meetings, they're lively meetings too. It's not just Lively Arts. And just nobody's ideas get shot down. each individual's idea might not be used, but nobody shoots anything down, and it's all available to be tweaked or expanded on. Or so I think I like that whole collaborative atmosphere, and saying, you know, we have a certain number of people on the committee, but then we all know other people in the church that might do this, that, or the other thing, and be able to say, let's tap this talent over here, or this person has great, you know, stage work in their background. Let's see what they can come up with. And you know, it might be somebody doesn't want to spend all their time on a committee, but can be used for a certain theme. And so because I live out of town from the church, I don't actually do the work part of putting it up, which I miss because I have a stage work background. And but I love seeing what they did with maybe my idea or my piece of the idea that happened. And so, like Jenny says, like you just see it come on that Sunday. So I get a lot out of just the committee work itself, and then seeing the product when it happens.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ruth, could you tell us, when does Lively Arts typically meet, such as days of the week, the time, the frequency? Like, when does the committee actually get together?
We ordinarily meet after second service on Sunday, and that is, the meetings are a little irregular because we don't ever have a meeting just to have a meeting. Oh my gosh, we haven't had a meeting, so let's have a meeting. No, we always have things to do. So if there's a worship theme that we need to work on, but if we have everything under control and can skip a meeting, we'll do that. But roughly, there's a meeting at least once for every worship service, and the worship services come up about every 6 weeks. But you can be on a subcommittee that's going over and doing work, you know, decorating the church. You can be on a subcommittee that's working on a concert or something like that. So there's small meetings that you may be involved in as well. But I would say probably you should figure the general meeting maybe once every 6 weeks. And we understand that some people are involved because we're in the arts. We end up being involved in things at odd hours. So, but we always have enough people at the meetings to get a lot done. So it works.
Sounds like good teamwork. Thank you. So the next question I'm going to ask of each of you, and I'm going to start with you, Jenny. So here's the question. How does service on Lively Arts inspire you, connect you with others, and or nurture you spiritually?
It does all of those things. For me, so I'm a single parent and I run a school for my job, and I'm busy like everybody else. And there's definitely times when the little thoughts in my head will start like, oh, you know, you have so many commitments and you need to, you know, scale back and not take on too much. But I stay involved in the Lively Arts Committee because the arts is such a passion of mine, and it is something that really grounds me spiritually. So being a part of the committee like is a way that I give back to myself and to the church community by making sure that this piece of my life and this piece of my spiritual experience like continues to be nourished and doesn't get forgotten, because it might not be the practical you know, piece of my life, but it's the part that really does like connect me to God, and that really does take me deeper in terms of experiencing the beautiful parts of life that kind of get skimmed over in the busyness of day to day. So I think by coming together with other people who feel the same way about the arts and sharing our talents, and then giving back to our church community by sharing those talents, I find that it just keeps, it's one way that I stay connected to my spiritual path, and that I feel like I can give to others. It's, you know, even just scripture, like the readings at lessons and carols. It's one thing to read a written scripture passage silently to yourself. It's another thing to hear it just delivered at the beginning of a weekly sermon. But it's something altogether different to have someone take a piece of the Bible and bring it to life with an interpretation and a delivery that's theatrical and brings meaning to it, and it can really connect with the people in the congregation. So that's just one example.
Thank you. Thank you. Margaret, same question for you.
It inspires me to bring words to life. I love words, and so I read a lot of poetry, and sometimes the idea or the feeling that the poem can give me will be something I bring to the committee depending on the theme that's being explored. And so that connects me to the work in the committee, connects to my spiritual life, and how I just address how I live in the world through my vision of what God is. And then it translates back out into what we produce for the services.
Thank you. Thank you. Ruth, question for you too. How does Lively Arts inspire you, connect you with others, and or nurture you spiritually?
I think it has been my personal mission, because I have the unique background of having been involved in so many different denominations, so many churches. Throughout my life, I've been a member of many different churches. And you can be a member of a lot of churches without anybody ever talking to you. You're never part of anything. You just, there's no way in. You can't find the door. And so at Lively Arts can be the door for a lot of people. Participating in choir, playing in worship services. And my feeling is we have to make that available to everybody so that they can be part of it. Yes, you're invited to play, you're invited to sing, come join us and be part of this. And so it's not just performing yourself, which is a form of worship, but it's listening to others and welcoming others in. And this is what Lively Arts is for me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for your time. Margaret, something else you wanted to add?
Yeah, something you said, Ruth, it's not, you said, come join us. Yeah, it's come join us, and actually even come join in with us. Join in with us making this thing that everyone can participate in.
Yes.
And I wanted to mention too, I didn't really even get to talk about dance at all, but I appreciate so much how this church has really made dance a part of, and not just traditional kind of liturgical dance like you might see in some other congregations, but really allowed the dancers in the congregation and even non-dancers to bring movement into worship in a way that can be very contemporary and fresh and modern, and like, just another way of exploring. So there's a lot of really creative and like alternative ways that the people of the congregation have brought their artistic talents and ideas into worship. So it's, I always look forward to seeing what they're going to let us do next.
Well, I thank the three of you for sharing so much tonight and all the insight. And again, appreciate the time. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.